Hi everyone, it's me Nikki here with a mudroom organization tip, and this is actually a What Would Nikki Do segment for my new subscribers. This is where you write into me with your organization dilemmas, your home decorating dilemmas, home entertaining dilemmas, and I tell you as your girlfriend, not as a professional, but just as a friend, what I think you should do or what I would do if I was in your situation. And today we're going to help out our girlfriend Gabriella. And Gabriella comes to us all the way from Maryland. And Gabriella wrote to me, and her situation is she's struggling with organization for her mudroom. And Gabriella has 5 children. She sent me these, and her husband, and she sent me this photo of her mudroom, and she really is struggling with how to get it organized, and she needs to do it on a budget because they are a one-income family, and so she wanted some tips on how to do that. Okay, so one thing I did notice about the mudroom is I noticed that she has done a lot of the work that would cost money, such as having the cubbies already built into her mudroom. And this is great because she doesn't have to worry about that expense. Another thing to kind of look at, Gabriella, is that you have your chalkboard wall there, so you have the fundamental things there for your mudroom to help it function. It's just basically kind of putting it all together so that you have an organized space, a functioning space, and an actual beautiful space, and done all on a budget. So I'm going to definitely share with you my ideas of what, if this was my space, what I would do, and I hope you will find it helpful, and I hope everyone else can find some tips that are helpful for them also. So Gabrielle, here's where I would start. Now the first thing that I'm looking at when I look at your space here is your walls. I see that you have a beautiful light blue color here on your walls, and that's the first thing that kind of attracted to me after I saw the chalkboard wall. And I noticed that maybe the paint there, but I love the color. I think it's nice and airy, and I would paint the whole room that color instead of having 2 tones or 2 different colors. And then I would leave the cabinets and the cubbies white, but in the trim white, but have everything in that nice soft blue. It'll keep the space open, and I think it would just be beautiful in that room. I would then take some eraser pads and just clean up all the beautiful artwork that your children did here and just kind of get it clean and neat and clear out the room. I then would find a nice sisal rug such as here, something that's very durable so that when the kids come in with their shoes, it really can handle the traffic of the kids, but then it would bring that wall color and that room together, slightly larger size than the rug you already have. So now let's talk about the cubbies. I love the fact that you have a cubby for each one of your kids already, but if you see at the top here, it's kind of like a catch-all space because they're easily can walk in the house and throw whatever they want in this space. So what I'm recommending for you is to prevent that and have each cubby here, the top cubby is for a designated space for each kid. And so by doing that, that will limit them from just throwing things up there. And how you're going to keep them from just throwing things up there is, one, you're going to label each kid's cubby. That way each kid knows where their things belong. And I'm sure that's how you have it now, but if you label it, it kind of gives that accountability. Then I would recommend finding some beautiful baskets to put in each one of the cubbies. What this does is it prevents the kids from just easily throwing things up there and then seeing the mess. It keeps it so that it's a space that is for specific things because they have to take the effort to pull the basket down. They're not going to do that just to throw a toy in there or something like that. Now I recommend a basket like this, something pretty. I don't recommend anything like this where you can see through because then it just, it keeps the clutter going and you want a kind of uniform look. Now, if you're going to go with something like that, because it is kind of trendy, use a liner so that you still cannot see inside the basket. But although it's beautiful, you still don't see what you're storing in the basket. And so by doing that, it cleans up the space. Now, because you're on a budget, you can look for these collapsible bins, which I would use that as a second option if you can't find baskets, but try Michael's. They have them 40% off all the time. But they're beautiful. These collapsible bins can still be beautiful, and you still can kind of use them in that space for your little cubbies for your kids. And I would find something that coordinates with your wall color and things like that. But I'm thinking if you do the neutral baskets, it really would add a lot to your room. Now in those baskets, I would determine what they're for. I would recommend stay-at-home school books, binders, hats, and gloves. That's what I would store in there. Do what works for your family, but have specific things and let your kid understand that that's only what goes in those bins. Now let's talk in the bottom cubby here. Now I notice you hang the things on the outside. I would stop doing that because that adds to kind of having a kind of overwhelming space, and I would not have them hang anything on the outside of their cubbies. What I would do is I would actually purchase some hangers and put each kid their own set of hangers inside the cubby on the back wall inside that cubby to hang their coats and umbrellas. And this is a little ornate, so I know for kids this is not what you would do, but you want something durable. I wouldn't use command hooks for the kids because they tend to just kind of yank and things like that. You want something like this that's more durable, something maybe that's simple and is very affordable at Target or IKEA, and then you hang each one their set on their back wall. And that way they can come and hang their coats on their back wall, and then when you look in the room, you're not necessarily looking at things hanging and looking at coats because it's kind of tucked in and hung on the back wall of the cubby. So I think that that can be very helpful. Now at the bottom shelf of that cubby, that's where I would let them put their book bags. And in putting their book bags there, it's more durable and they can just grab and go. And then I would make them little homework boxes. And if you're on my other channel, At Work with Nikki, last week I did a video on how to put together a homework box for your kids. And I would do that and put one in each one of their cubbies. I'll link that video below in case you're interested. But that way when they come home, they can grab their box, go to the kitchen table or wherever they do homework, or if you homeschool, they can grab it at homeschool time and have all the items in there that they need to do their homework. It can be kept back in that cubby, very neat and organized. And this helps you keep that structure. You can keep signed papers in there, different things they need for school. They have all their school supplies to do their homework. And definitely check out that channel, At Work with Nikki. Again, I'll link it below if you want to see how I put one together. But I think that would be very useful for you, Gabriella, and to kind of help the kids stay on task and to stay organized there. So I would put that on that shelf. Now, shoes would just go on the bottom shelf. Keep it simple. That way when they come in, they have an easy place to put their shoes, but I would limit it to 2 pairs of shoes per child. That way you don't have an overwhelmed space with shoes and they know where to put them. They know they can only keep 2 pairs of shoes, and why would they really need more than that typically? So in the mudroom, I would only have 2 pairs of shoes. Now that the kids are taken care of, let's talk about you and your husband. Now I think these top shelves here tend to be where you keep your handbags and things like that. First thing I would do is purge and downsize and get rid of any bags that you don't use. I would then find some nice pretty bins or collapsible bins at this point, not the exact same color as the bins that you use for the kids, or baskets that you use for the kids, but something that coordinates but is slightly different to give a different feel. And then I would store my handbags in those bins. I would refrain from anything that's plastic or anything like that because that can take away from the room. And you know, you want your room to function well, but you also want it to be beautiful because this is your home and your space, and you know, just the little bit of extra effort would just really pay off, because every time you go in that room you would feel good about it. And then you can do your bins for you in seasons, like your spring bags, your fall bags, your winter bags, and do it that way so that you know where to pull from and it's more organized space. And the same for the top shelf. Now for you and your husband coats, I would hang them on this back wall here, and it appears that you may have a hook already there, so that might work out for you already. So that where, you know, because you all would just hang the 2 coats that you're currently using at that point for you and your husband. Now when doing that, I would recommend using something like this, something that has storage attached to the hooks, because that way you can put things for your husband as he goes out the door, if you need to leave him a note, if you guys want to drop off mail there, if something that you need to grab as you go out the door. It can have a dual purpose. It's beautiful. It can hang on that wall. You still can hang your coats, but you still have that storage aspect at the top of it. And you can find these. This is at Tuesday Morning here, but you can find them at Tuesday Morning, Michael's, anywhere. They have these all over the place for like under $10, so great investment. And on the bottom here, I would put an actual shoe tray. And the shoe tray would be a great purpose for you and your husband to store your shoes, along with on those rainy days, the kids can put their shoes there until they're dry. And do it on a dime. She did a tutorial, I believe, a few weeks or months ago on how to make this. You can make it very affordable, great DIY. So check out her channel for how to do that also. I'll try to find a video if I can, but she definitely did talk about this at one point. And you could go get, you could spray paint a long baking tray black and put rocks in it and make your own. You know, it's very inexpensive to do, but I think it's a nice drop off for those rainy days, and then also every day for you and your husband to store your shoes. So definitely I would put that under your coats on that section if you have the space for it. I couldn't quite see there, but if you can fit that in, that would be great. And so I love the fact that you had the chalkboard here. I think that functions well for your family. You can leave notes there, reminders there. I think it's very neat. I love how you have the hooks under there. You can use that for on the go quick things, but I would tend to not keep anything right there on there. Maybe use that for when the kids have play dates and their guests come over, they have a place to hang their coats. You can leave that for there, but I typically would remove that bag and not have anything that kind of would have any clutter there. And then under that, just to give a little beauty to the space, I would put something decorative in that space, such as a cute little wreath or a cute little plaque, something to add to the room that you love, that when you go in that room, it looks beautiful to you. But overall, I think the bones of the room, you did a great job. As for the budget to putting this room together, because you're on a budget, I recommend purging your house, having a yard sale, a mini yard sale to raise funds just to get your baskets and things, because you don't need a lot of money to do this room because you did the majority of the work already with the storage, with the cubbies and things. And then also use Craigslist. If you have a big item like a chair or anything that you want to get rid of, put it on Craigslist and sell it, and then use that money to invest in your mudroom. You'd be surprised what you have in your home that you're not using, that if you just put it on Craigslist or you sell it, you can take that money and invest it in your mudroom, and that way you're not touching your budget or anything like that. So if you have any home organization, home decor, home entertaining issues that you want to help from me, or my suggestion as your girlfriend, go to my website AtHomeWithNikki.com, and I will be glad to help you with that situation. When you go to the website, you'll see a section that says what would Nikki do. Click on that and you easily submit your dilemma to me, and hopefully I can get a video out to you helping you and telling you what I would do as your friend. So I hope you all have truly enjoyed this video and found it helpful. I definitely will see you at the next video. I hope you all are doing great, and this is Nikki saying goodbye.